Alderman Lassiter. Alderman Bexell. Alderman Morrison. Mayor Pro Tem and members of the board. We have 4 members that are present, 2 that are not present. A quorum is present.
Thank you. The Board of Aldermen welcomes comments from citizens on issues and items concerning not on the agenda. Those wishing to speak must sign in before the meeting begins and absorb a 5-minute time limit with addressing the board. Speakers will have 1 opportunity to speak during this time. Inquiries about matters not listed on the agenda will either be directed to staff or placed on a future agenda for Alderman consideration. No discussion or final action will be taken by the Board of Aldermen during the public comment period of the meeting. So with that, we have 2. Miss Joyce Pennington, would you like? I can switch. Next one we can move on is Tanya Dankert. Please come on up. Okay.
Good evening, aldermen and members in attendance. My name is Tanya Dankert. I live at 1301 Hare Road in Salado. I've been a part of the community since 2017, and my husband has been here since 2010. We're both retired Army veterans and are proud to call Salado our home. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys today. I'm here regarding my proposed retail firearms and ammunition business. Before taking any financial steps, I made a conscious effort to do things the right way. So in January of this year, I reached out to the village via email to verify whether this type of business would be permitted in Salado. I was directed to review zoning ordinance 2013-08 and was clearly advised that retail firearms sales are allowed in all areas labeled with a P, which included the historic districts and essentially all non-residential areas. After reviewing the ordinance several times and based on that ordinance, I proceeded in good faith. I formed my LLC, I paid the licensing, passed the ATF inspections, and invested significant time and resources in preparing for this business. As we got closer to signing a lease at 677 North Stagecoach Road, Suite B, I reached out again to just double check everything before moving forward. At that point, I was told that since this property falls within the historic district, there is a separate overlay amendment that prohibits this type of retail. This was the first time the historic district limitation had ever been brought to my attention. Considering that over 90% of Salado's retail locations are within the historic district, this information should have been shared during my initial communications with the village. Had that information been provided at the beginning, I would have completely changed my decision-making process. Instead, I relayed on the original guidance provided to me, and I made measurable investments based on that understanding. My goal has always been to follow the rules, be transparent, and operate within the standards of this community. This situation is not the result of neglect or oversight on my part, but rather a disconnect between the initial guidance I was given and the later information that was provided. I understand that the village is going through a period of transition and that this may not seem like an immediate priority. However, this is a very important and time-sensitive matter for my family, and we truly value your consideration. In addition, in every conversation that we've had with members of our community about this opportunity, the response has been overwhelmingly enthusiastic, which further enforces how meaningful this could be for everyone in our community. Because of that, I am respectfully asking the board to consider granting an exception, variance, or any path forward that would allow this business to open at the pre-described location. I strongly believe in this community and in doing business the right way, and I would be grateful for the opportunity to contribute positively here. I have sent an email with this request, as well as printed out a formal request, summary of the communications, and an official email communication with the village for you guys to review if you would like. So thank you for your time and your consideration and for your service to the village.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Joyce Pennington.
Joyce Pennington. I live at 339 Van Bibber Road on 4.5 acres overlooking the beautiful Salado Creek. But first I want to let you know how much that I really admire and I look up to Tanya and Will Dankert, because they are former Army veterans, or they are Army veterans, and they are very invested into the community. I think that they would bring something very important, and I bet probably 90% of the people that live here in Salado probably has a firearm somewhere in their drawer, or I have one, by the way, right next to my bed, so don't come knocking on the door after about 10 o'clock at night. But anyway, I know that they have dignity with this, and it's something that they would do an exceptional work with, to be able to provide us with something that is important, because otherwise there's not that many resources for ammunition and things like that. It's not like that someone could be doing something dangerous with it. Just like I think about this, there's about 25 places on Main Street where people can get alcohol. That's something that's dangerous. Okay, now that's all I wanted to say about Will and Tanya Dankert, but I think that they are a very great part of us, and they have been someone that we consider chosen family. But I also wanted to speak on behalf of Save Salado Creek. And Save Salado Creek, of course, we're trying to make sure that we're presenting an option for developers to be able to choose a high-end wastewater treatment, so that our beautiful, pristine creek will be able to stay beautiful for the next few decades. And how many of you have seen kids swimming in the creek in the last few weekends? Raise your hand. I know if you've even looked, you found it. But they're everywhere, and they love it. And people have been doing this for decades and centuries. So we are going to be announcing a fundraiser that will be on October 1st. And it will be announced next week who that person is. Going to be a concert that is a VIP dinner, and something elegant that will be at the Blue Heron Ballroom and at Tin Rock Ranch. So watch for the Village Voice, because they will be announcing some things, I think, next week on the paper, in the magazine, newspaper. But thank y'all so much, and thank you for all of you to donate your time, and you're just a great group of people that really love Salado, and that really means a lot to us. And thank you for your time, because it's a voluntary job. They're not millionaires making millionaires here. They don't make anything, but they make our village better. So thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. I'll open it up, even though if you didn't fill out a form, if there's anyone that wants to present something that was not on the consent agenda, you're welcome to come up. Okay. Okay. It's for on the agenda. This is for off the agenda. Okay, come
on. Darlene Walsh, 1001 Mill Creek Drive. And I would like to agree that Will and Tanya Dankert are young entrepreneurs who want to contribute to this community. And I've known them for some time, and we certainly need the sales tax. And unfortunately, if things don't work out for you guys, we do have property that are outside of town, outside of the zoning. So come talk to us. I would prefer they come into town, because I would prefer that that they earn town sales tax. And in fact, we had the library come to us once and want us to give them basically the 2 acres we have next to the library. And we said, no, we want somebody who's going to provide sales tax. You don't need another non-tax paying entity. So let's encourage them if there's any way to do that. The other thing I wanted to say is I got up the last time and talked about, and I showed you a couple of books that I have, the comprehensive plan and the zoning book, from the time that we passed it in 2003. And they are, most of it is still valid. I mean, there have been a few changes along the way, mostly about signs or whatever. That's the most controversial thing that's been in the past 25 years, signage. But unfortunately, the sound was off when I talked, so it wasn't tape for anybody watching this meeting on YouTube. And I just wanted to bring it up again, that I found out from Gina after the meeting that she does have that version of the comprehensive plan and zoning for any of you that want to read it or look it over, because it was done with the help of a professional group of attorneys and Dan Sefco, who we spent 2 years on it, so it's worth reading. I just wanted to mention that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, darling. Anybody else? All right, now we'll switch to items on the agenda. The Board of Aldermen welcomes comments from citizens on issues and items of concern on the agenda. Those wishing to speak must sign in before the meeting begins and absorb a 5-minute time limit when addressing the board. Speakers will have one opportunity to speak per agenda item during this time. Public comments on the agenda items will only be received during this portion of the meeting. No discussion or final action will be taken by the Board of Aldermen during the public comment period of the meeting. And I've got one here. Darlene? No. Miss Watson, you just went, sorry. I don't think there's anything else. Anybody else? Okay. Then we will proceed to the agenda item workshop. And we'll discuss, the next is 2A, discussion of current consent agenda Board of Aldermen meeting. Approval of the Board of Aldermen meeting minutes from May 21st, 2026, and the financial report ending on April 30th, 2026. And Mr. Alderman Maruso, any questions on 2A for the consent agenda? Alderman Laster? Correct. Both. Any questions? That is correct, sir. That is correct. I'm a rookie here, so I think that would be advisable. Alderman Sandor? Okay. I just had one on the financial reporting. I know we talked, a lot of it was discussed, but with the new city manager coming in, we paid the severance for the previous, and then you were on board. Well, it was up to the year, and then we paid out, I think, the benefits. That was at $70K, and then I noticed in there, you know, there was a separate line item for the COG, which is $50K. I'm pretty sure with the new administrator coming on, we're probably going to run over budget. So I just didn't know if we need to make any adjustments there.
Budget amendments if needed. There will be around, I don't know if that'll be a line item that will actually need to be amended in the future. But at the end of the year, there will be a tuning of the budget and the actuals that would account for any of the overages if there is one, as well as any under
overage of anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll back around then. Any other? I'll open it up to the aldermen if there's any other comments or questions. Okay.
No, I haven't received any direct feedback on the 6-month report. I know that I did speak with the mayor about it, and there are some revisions possibly that he'll work with John to get included in a future update, if you will, of that format. For the budget at this point in time, we still look to be growing. Our unrestricted cash flow continues to grow, so we haven't started actually. We haven't plateaued and are decreasing yet, and dipping into that, which will take us, when that happens, through the remainder of the year, that'll take us to around $450,000 in net revenue or net income for the year, anywhere from my estimate is $300,000 to $500,000. With the new sales tax and other things, I'm still estimating about $450,000 in net revenue. I don't know if that answers your question. Talk around it.
Any other comments? Okay, then we will move on to agenda item 2B, discussion regarding the second payment to TechStock for the Royal Street project.
That's this actually 2 payments were required by TechStock to be received by TechStock from the village. Well, 1 payment actually. I don't know why it was split into 2. I'll tell you just right here today. But a total of 40. Got it in the packet here. A total of $42,000 was required as the estimated local project costs that needed to be paid to TechStop prior to construction of the Royal Street project. Last year, a portion of that was paid to $20,160. TechStop reached out and said, hey, we need the $21,840 before you guys open your bid. Construction bids were, construction bid documents were actually released today, so that bid is open. So they are requesting that the village send them the remainder of what's due prior to us opening the bid documents on the 26th.
Alderman Sanders, any questions?
Yeah. Where are we gonna pay for that from? I know the answer, but I'd like.
The funds for that are from the tax note.
Okay. And if I think the board should understand that if you don't approve this check, then this project will not let, and so everything that's been worked on Royal Street will be all for naught. So this is really a formality and continuance of business we already had running with TechStop and everybody involved with the grant, the Royal Street project. I don't have any other comments, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Alderman Lassiter, any questions?
No.
Alderman Russo?
No comment.
Okay. And if there's no other thing, we will move on to agenda item 2C, and this is discussion regarding the Wayfinder signs. Is this one Ms. Pence?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, thank you. I just want to inform Mayor Pro Tem and Aldermen, staff began pursuing the Wayfinder sign project approximately 1 year ago. Some of you were in those initial conversations that we had regarding these signs. And this was in anticipation of increased traffic along the I-35 access road with all the new retail that's coming in. And the intent of the project was to capitalize on drive-by traffic and direct visitors to the village's downtown district, increasing visibility for local businesses and attraction. The project required an extensive approval process through TechStop, which took approximately 8 months to get complete. Staff is proposing the installation of 4 Wayfinder signs along the I-35 access road. 2 would be southbound signs, one located along the access road near Sonnet, and you do have a map that points these locations out in your packet. The second one would be located near the gravel parking lot adjacent to Johnny's, where the donut shop is at. And then we've got 2 northbound signs, and these locations have been approved by TxDOT. One located along the I-35 access road near South Main Street, visible to motorists approaching. If you were to look over, you would see the Sanctuary Apartments. I was just trying to give some visual here. And a secondary sign directing traffic visitors toward the downtown district. Staff has obtained 3 written quotes for the project in accordance with the village purchasing policy and procedures. All 3 quotes were included for the fabrication and installation of all 4 proposed wayfinder signs. Although the project was not included in the current CVB hotel occupancy tax, the hot funds, budget, staff has followed the village purchasing policies and procedures. A purchase order has been issued, and the finance director has reviewed and approved the proposed purchase contingent upon board approval. The board has the following options to take action on this item. You can approve the wayfinder signs and fund the project through the hot fund reserve. You can approve the wayfinder signs and utilize marketing funds that maybe become available if the current billboard contract is not renewed, or you can decline approving the wayfinder signs. Staff's recommendation is approval of the wayfinder sign project. These signs represent a strategic opportunity to capture increasing traffic flow along the I-35 corridor and direct visitors into the downtown area. The signage will provide a permanent wayfinding solution that supports tourism, economic development, and downtown business activity. As traffic volumes continue to increase along that I-35 access road, these signs will definitely help and encourage to explore the local businesses and amenities that we offer downtown. The only other thing that I would like to point out to you, in the draft, we highlighted the items that we thought could represent well. But if you want to change any of that wording around, we have the ability to do that. What I'm presenting to you is what officially TxDOT has approved by the specs and the number of signs and the locations. And I have no further comments on this.
I'll open it up to Alderman Lassiter. Any questions?
So I actually had this at one of the hotel meetings that we had with the group several months ago. I can't tell you how many months ago, but we talked about the wayfinder signs and that we were looking at doing that and trying to get approval from TxDOT.
So, these signs are similar to the ones we built on the downtown.
My assumption is going to be yes. I haven't seen those, but I have seen the ones in Belton off the access.
Those are multicolored. Three or four different colored signs. There's 3 or 4 on the road. All of our signs
That is not the plan, and that's not what I got approved by TxDOT. If that is something that you wish, then we would need to go back to TxDOT. And I did ask for the contingency to be black and white because of our street posts and everything else within the village, and they told me no on that there was certain color restrictions. They've updated their plans, but I didn't go through anything at that point. And we just settled on the blue because the blue being the color of, our branding of the logo. So.
And I think that it's reflected in so not only today, but it's
That was part of the plan. I don't know that point. So. Yes. Yes. So you've got 3 separate quotes in your packet. Staff actually reached out to several companies. Some told us that they would pass on it, and others were outside of the area because this is not only for fabrication, but it's also for installation. So there was a lot of folks that did not want to do the install, and there is special requirements per TxDOT, and we just got a public works person hired, so we could not say that we were going to install these to their standards. So we wanted to go ahead and get that installation with that. As you look through the quotes, you've got, each one is for 4 signs. You've got one quote that came in at $36,975, another quote that came in at $16,034, and then your third quote came in at $23,530. So that's for all 4 signs, fabrication and install. Yes, sir. This is why we get bids.
That's why we get bids.
So I know that they have done some other signage work out there, but I have not worked with them. So I know we don't always maybe go with the lowest. So I wanted to see direction from the board first, and then we're happy to look into anything further that needs be before we issue any type of payment. Yes.
I don't know if there's any cost savings or not, but and the quality of the aspect of our employees and quality. I would like
Thank you, sir. I have made the note.
Alderman Sanders?
So I've worked with Liberty and Jackson both successfully before. I don't recognize the other company. I'm happy to help qualify this bid, just like I've been doing on all the other bids around here lately. No different. I'm happy to have those conversations with Jackson and make sure that they're, yeah. And I do have a couple of questions for you, Gina. One, and I think I know the answer, but just to be clear, these are not illuminated, just reflective. Is that correct?
Correct. So you're not illuminated.
Yeah. And then who chose? I know there was some input from the dais a long time ago, months ago, about the location of these. There was staff had recommendations. We had some ideas. Ultimately, how did that land? I don't have an issue for the record on where these are at. I'm wondering, how do we determine how did we propose to TxDOT where we wanted to put these? Did we just make sense of what we knew about traffic and then proposed it to them and they either agree or disagree, and in this case they agreed?
So you're absolutely right, sir. That's what we did. We looked at the traffic counts and knowing the high volume that's coming from the retail of the Salado development and making sure that we can get them at least from that stop sign, hopefully to come to downtown. If we do it up any further, we may miss them because they have the access to be able to get back on I-35. So we wanted to capture them there.
Okay.
And that gave us a limited time, area that we could really do that in that.
Sure.
Particular
Unless I'm remembering it wrong, I thought there was going to be one on Main Street somewhere. At least there was a discussion about that.
So these were designed for I-35 access.
Okay.
And one of the things that I did discuss many months ago, which I probably had that same discussion with you, I believe that we do need to put some wayfinder signs on Main Street, but that was not part of this project.
That's right. Okay.
There are currently two, and one of them is really not in a good area, nor do the arrows make sense. And it's been there for many, many years. I couldn't tell you how long. Somebody else here would be able to give you the history on that. But we do need to update those at some point, even if we use those frames and update the strips and have the arrows and so forth, and maybe new businesses or whatever put on there. That was my recommendation then. That would still be my recommendation going forward if I was asked.
Okay, and then on the sign contractors who have proposed, were they given a specification that's not included here to propose from? And was that specification or construction details provided to us by TxDOT?
Yes.
And that's what they proposed from? I want to make sure that, to Alderman Lassiter's point, that's a big delta. I've seen this in my world before. The other guys could simply be very busy, and these guys might have a lull and a crew that that are going to be in this area soon or something. There's a number of reasons why that number could be skewed so badly. But in part of the qualification process that I'll put them through, I just want to make sure that they're all bidding apples to apples, and they had the opportunity to do that from TxDOT, who's really driving what we're allowed to put out there and where we're allowed to put it.
Absolutely. The packet that actually had the sign options that included all the specs, that entire packet went to each sign company.
Same packet?
Same packet.
Okay. And then I think, don't we have some signs on Main Street? Not these, but some other kind of sign, or we were talking about putting a sign like a glass panel that you could get inside and change and put different flyers up and things like that.
I think
is that a separate conversation
might be
altogether?
talking about the kiosk, because
Yes,
I had talked
the
about
kiosk.
that. The kiosks are up, and we have a map that we can reprint.
Okay.
And continue to update that and put it in there. So,
Okay.
Or tourism could update it with something else.
Yeah. So I'll get with you during normal business hours and we'll talk to the contractors and make sure. Yeah. That's it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Alderman Murphy?
There are 4 signs, 2 each are the same, correct? Just 2 pairs?
So, yes. So they'll be in different locations,
Right,
right? Yes.
right, okay.
Yeah.
That's my only question.
I'm going to probably a little bit reiterating, but maybe a little different. So I was unsure of that. First of all, thanks for being so persistent with this, because this is much needed. There's way signs out there, like McDonald's went and put one on the I-35 corridor for the QT as a new business come in, but having it as you get off, really promoting the downtown area, just kudos. So thanks for the persistence first and foremost. What is actually on the sign? Do we know yet? Like, historic district this way? Is it?
So in that packet, if you will go to that, where it's going to have the actual signage itself, where it says wayfinding, and it has a picture of the sign, and then it gives you.
Okay. Then I'll look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But those are currently what we had listed, and again, we can change those. We were just trying to get, with 8 months of working with TxDOT, we were trying to make sure that we hit the high marks, and then of course you can update the verbiage. But at the top of the sign it says Downtown Salado, then it's got Salado Museum, and it says CBV and Visitor Center, Historic and Business District. Those are the slotted that we have, but again, that language can be updated.
Okay.
So as long as we stay within that size, because that's what TxDOT has approved already.
All right, no other questions. Thank you, Gina. Is there any last minute from the board? Follow up? Okay. Then we will move on, thank you, Gina,
Thank
to 2D, discussion regarding the appointment of a planning and zoning commissioners.
So Mayor Pro Tem, that is going to be mine again. Thank you. So the Planning and Zoning Commission currently has 3 positions with terms that expired on May 31st, 2026. As we presented this, I do believe at the last workshop, I think we started talking about the applicants at that time. 2 current commissioners, Marlene Norcross and Jesse Mondragon, have expressed interest in continuing their service and are eligible for reappointment pending board consideration. In addition, the village received 4 applications from residents interested in serving on the commission. Of those applicants, only 2 were able to serve. Others had already made commitments at this time. The 2 applicants that are able to serve are Stephen Latman and Kevin Shawn. At present, the Planning and Zoning Commission has 1 vacant commissioner seat and 2 alternate positions available for appointment. Should the board choose to reappoint Marlene and Jesse, there would still be opportunities to appoint the qualified applicants to the remaining open positions. The board may consider the following actions: to reappoint Marlene Norcross and Jesse Mondragon to new terms on the Planning and Zoning Commission, appoint Stephen Latman and or Kevin Shawn to the vacant commissioners or alternate positions, determine the appropriate composition of the commission and alternate positions to ensure continued representation and effective operation of the commission. Staff is recommending that the board consider reappointing the current commissioners who wish to continue serving, while also evaluating qualified applicants for available commissioner and alternate positions. Filling all available positions will help maintain a full and effective commission and support the development of the planning and zoning. And I have no further comments on this matter.
I'll open it up. Alderman Marufo, would you like to start off?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Alderman Lassiter?
We did ask if any of them would like to attend tonight. Yeah, and I'm not seeing, so.
Alderman Sanders?
It's my understanding that staff reached out to both Mr. Stephen Latman and Mr. Kevin Shawn, asking them to be present tonight. Is that accurate?
It is, but it was a late notice, I do have to say.
Okay.
I thought so, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Stephen.
Thank you for coming, Stephen. So this is just a discussion, yeah?
Yep.
I mean, so I've gotten to know Mr. Latman because he has been frequenting these Board of Aldermen meetings quite a bit this year, which for me speaks volumes, because it's exactly what I did when I wanted to come sit up here one day. I started coming to these meetings and I didn't miss any of them. I did that for a number of months. Also, if you look at Mr. Latman's resume, am I pronouncing your last name correctly, sir? You know, he's a PE, he's professional engineer, specializing in civil engineering, transportation, and he's licensed obviously here. He's a certified construction manager, and he's involved in, Barrel Run Club and Show Up Performance, so takes care of himself, takes care of his mind, it sounds like. I don't know that that should matter, but it does a little bit for me. But he's engaged anyway in the community, and moreover, I know Kevin Shawn personally, and I quite like him a lot. He ran recently for one of the alderman positions, and he's a good man in my book. I do think that Kevin is looking to get more involved and engaged for not having been elected as an alderman recently. He told me that he wanted to stay engaged, and so I appreciate him throwing his hat in for this. If we're just looking at resumes and qualifications, it's my opinion that Mr. Latman would better serve Salado in the immediate future as a chair, or excuse me, as being on P&Z, and that maybe perhaps Mr. Shawn could be an alternate. Is that an option that we have to fill a chair? And we're filling a chair, and I may have missed it. Did John Price, he's our current chair of P&Z, right?
He is.
And he resigned?
So he will not be, he has not thrown his hat in to renew.
Okay.
I didn't hear the last word you said. He was not throwing his hat in.
To renew another term, or to serve another term, I should say.
Yeah, and so, and effectively, his term is over because it ended on May 31st the other day, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So the assumption is that he's not coming back, I think. And I will label this was the chair of P&Z. So not only does P&Z need to fill a seat and hopefully have an alternate, because I think that that's appropriate because we have an opportunity to, but then P&Z will need to appoint who their new chair is going to be also, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think both of them would do Salado well from what I know of them. But if we're just reading resumes, you guys have the same stuff I do. So my opinion is that Mr. Latman would certainly serve us well in P&Z, and he's smart. He understands and cares about Salado, and he's open-minded. Him and I did not agree on some math one time, and it was an easy conversation, which I appreciate. So that's all my comments. Thank you.
So I'll just add, Mr. Latman, first of all, for those that don't know, he's been instrumental, and he's even on our road study, done amazing homework on his own and provided the feedback. So first of all, thank you for throwing your name. For everyone who's thrown their name in the hat, I appreciate that, for even offering to serve. It's a critical time for the village. We got all this development, so those that are stepping up, thank you. I don't think I have anything else. There's just some comments. I'll leave it one last round. If someone last comment, and we'll move on to the agenda item. Okay. Next at the Alderman meeting. Okay. All right, then we will move on to 2E, discussions regarding the Americans and with Disabilities Act (ADA) subrecipient compliance in relation to the tech dot funding. Okay.
So, Mayor Pro Tem and Aldermen, the village has been notified that the municipalities receiving federal funding are expected to demonstrate a good faith effort towards ADA compliance. Staff has initiated the process by publishing an ADA notice, which you do have in your packet, and plans to distribute a community survey to gather input on accessibility needs and areas for improvement, as you also have a copy of this in your packet. And you are more than happy to make any comments or recommendations to staff because that survey has not gone out yet. The village has informed TxDOT that it is in the beginning stages of developing an ADA compliance plan. Survey results and initial recommendations will be presented later this year as staff continues to evaluate community needs and establish priorities. This will be an ongoing effort, and staff will continue to provide updates and future recommendations to the Board of Aldermen as the ADA compliance process progresses. We anticipate drafting a plan with the board that will be broken out into stages over several years. More will come as staff is working through this process with TxDOT. At this time, we have not allocated any funds for this, nor are we requesting any funds. This is just in the planning stage. I have no other comments on this matter.
What I would like to add, thank you, Gina, is this was kind of dropped on our lap. This is something we were totally unaware of until we received some emails that had been sent to, previous administration. I wasn't monitoring that email inbox. But these communications started last year saying, hey, you guys need to send us some reports, do these surveys, and surveys were done. And then they gave us until May 1st, I believe it was, I could be wrong, to submit some compliance required documentation. We were unaware of that. And then about May 12th, I think they reached out and said, hey, we've given you guys until May 15th. They finally got a hold of the new village administrator email. And Gina's email, I think they found us both maybe. Said, hey, you guys still aren't in compliance. You have 2 days to get this submitted to us. And then we said, well, we have no idea what's going on. We don't even know what these documents are. We don't know what our responses were last time. We have nothing. Can we please have an extension? And they said, unequivocally, no extension for you. And then I think it was the following Monday, they said, okay, we'll give you until June 2nd. Thank you. And here's all the documents that you requested to provide a response. To use those documents, worked diligently to craft something, and we did provide a response to TxDOT, and now we are, I believe, where we need to be. The next big hurdle is Gina working through all of this that she's talking with you, with getting the ADA survey out, ensuring our community is involved in these ADA planning efforts, and the village is moving forward with some planning activities for ADA compliance. So really this fell to the wayside, and it's something that is very important, of course, and it's being brought to you now, and it'll be an ongoing effort that you'll see from village staff.
With that, I'll open up for any questions. Alderman Russo?
Are these going to be sent out randomly? Do we have a demographic of how we're going to do this?
So we need to get it out to all of the community, not just randomly. So we'll have to find various avenues that we can do that, and we'll work on making that digital, and then we've got paper copies that we'll hand out at every possible meeting area, that we can to get this in front of folks and businesses. I mean, we need to hear from everybody, so.
No other questions?
Alderman Sandor?
No questions.
And Alderman Lassiter? Okay, with that, we will. Okay, so jump to item 2. Okay. All right, so under advisement here, we are going to move to item 3, presentation on the Southern Oak concept plan.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may start. Mr. Rosamont, developer of the proposed Southern Oaks concept, is present this evening. Thank you. And will be providing an overview of the concept plan and receive feedback from the Board of Aldermen. The project was previously presented to the former board and was tabled to allow the developer time to address requested revisions from that board and the previous administrator. The city attorney has advised that the updated concept be presented to the current board to obtain feedback and determine whether there is interest in moving this project forward. Tonight's discussion is intended to be informal and may provide direction to staff. The board is being asked to indicate whether it wishes to further explore the proposed development within the village. Should the board express interest, staff, the city attorney, and the developer may begin evaluating the necessary next steps, including potential annexation and any wastewater service connectivity and related infrastructure improvements, and negotiate a development agreement. And I know Mr. Rosamont is here to speak with you and answer any questions that you may have.
Rosamont, you want to come up?
Does staff have this plat where they can put it on that screen right there? No? Okay.
Okay, we'll open up, we'll start with you, Alderman Sandor.
Okay, so I want to add a little bit to Gina's notes. I think they're good notes. There's some other pertinent information that I think we should consider. The last time that this developer was here with this exact project was maybe 14 months ago. I was sitting in the audience unelected when he was last here. That's not normal. As we learn together and build processes together as a new board with new administration, once he settles in, we'll have to find a way to be more efficient if we're going to want to entertain doing business with developers, which I know in a lot of people's ears is just a negative thing, but it's and it can be, but it also can be very positive. I think that I have spoken with Mr. Rosemond about this project here recently, and so I'll ask him a few questions here in a moment just to kind of bring everybody up to speed with some bits and pieces that I know about this project, which I guess we could do now. So how many phases of construction are you anticipating?
Yeah, thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate you guys seeing this again. So we've got it down for 4 phases on the residential portion. The 4th phase, as it's outlined back there, will most likely be built out with the 3rd phase. The commercial development piece, as well as the townhomes, will we intend for that phase, which we're considering separate of the residential piece. We're planning to do that with the 1st phase of the residential at the same time. So it would be 1 phase of residential, which is approximately 75 homes, the 10 phase commercial, as well as the townhomes, and we will likely phase the townhome piece in.
Okay. And can you describe where this subject property is?
Yeah, so it's on Williams Drive, directly to the west of the current middle school as it sits now. So we purchased that property and almost immediately sold the ISD, Salado ISD, the 40 acres that they're building the current new high school on. So we went in with them and I don't say partnered with them, but we made them a heck of a deal on that property and thought it was in the best interest for the community and for us as a development to have a school there. So it's everything to the south of the new school and west of Williams Drive across from the main school.
Okay, and does your firm intend to develop this property in the county if it for any reason becomes ineligible to come into the village?
Yes, we 100%. We'll have to at that point, yeah, or sell the property to someone else. Yes, but we intend to keep it, develop it in Bell County if that's the case.
And I will, I'm sure the rest of the board's going to have some questions, and so I'll yield right now, as long as we all understand what I've been trying to tell everyone. I moved here 18 years ago to be in a small village. I didn't come here to watch it grow big, but I-35 cuts this town in half. It's going to grow. What I think we have to be responsible to do is consider what legal levers and buttons we have available to us to control how that growth happens. And so when talking about development right on the edge of the village of Salado proper, if for some reason, and there's a million reasons why they may or may not come into the village, we don't control all of them. The developer controls at least half of that equation also. Then you would be looking at a potential development right on the edge of town that never has to pay us a penny to utilize all of our resources. And you have to consider the economics and math of that. You cannot just say that growth here is bad. It's going to happen. You're not going to outlawyer it, and you're not going to outspend it. I think that Mr. Rosemond is what I would consider a small developer. He's a local developer. I happen to know because I asked that he lives in the ETJ on Senate Mill area, and he has local developments in Salado, of which Drake's Landing Phase 2 I own lots in, to be clear. And so I'm not advocating for him. I'm just trying to give facts that I think people need to understand. I like that when he does the developments that he's done in this town, whether they're on the edge of town, well, I guess Drake's Landing is in the village, and then his other development on Stinnett Mill is in the ETJ in the county. Either way, though, none of those lots have been sold. 0 of those lots have been sold to national builders. And I think that makes a little bit of a difference. I'm not trying to be derogatory against national builders, but that's a different ball game, a different product altogether. And he does not. Am I misspeaking?
No, and I'm happy to expand on that.
Please do.
Yeah. So as Alderman Sando just stated, we've been here since 2014. We did not intend to work here when we moved here. We moved here because we fell in love with Salado pretty instantly. Coming to some festivals downtown, thought it was an incredible area. Got to looking into the schools, and the schools is what brought us here. There was, in that time, was a huge need for new construction homes. We actually had a lot of trouble finding a home at that time. So I say all that to say the need was there, and obviously the market has dictated since. The properties that we purchased, I would say the last few properties that we've purchased have been competing with developers that are selling to national builders. So all the arguments that I hear in town, I agree with, believe it or not. I'm not interested in Salado becoming a massive city either. The only thing that I'm doing is putting my money into the community and trying to help control it. So that's what I've done. I sell lots to local builders. I also own a building company, so we build approximately 40 homes a year, and we do it all in Salado. We don't do it anywhere else. The homes that we build are very nice homes. They're $450,000 to $800,000 homes. I also have a custom home building company, which will build extremely nice homes. So I say all that to say nothing that we're putting here, the derogatory statements that we see online about tiny lots, tiny homes, all that, I adamantly disagree with. I think the product that we build, Salado Mills, where I currently live, Drake's Landing on Royal Street, Eagle Ranch that we built over by the high school, as well as this subdivision, all of those we feel like speak for themselves. They're very nice communities, and the ones that we've been allowed to bring into the village are obviously, paying taxes and speak for themselves.
Last one. Do you know today what an average cost might be on the single family homes in this Southern Oaks development?
What it costs is?
Well, I'm sorry. Do you have an idea? Are these going to be the same? Are they going to be 450 and up? Or are they going to be 500 and up? Do you know yet?
Yeah, I got you. So as far as cost of the lots are going to be just north of what we have in Drake's Landing right now, which those lots are 85,000. So we anticipate these being closer to about 100,000. So better location, better trees, that sort of thing. With that, the product that we will build in there will be in the low 4s, 425. Most likely will be kind of the bottom there. It's difficult when you're building on a $90,000 to $100,000 lot. It's very difficult to get much lower than that. On around about a 2,000 square foot house, that's about what those things are, give or take. And so yeah, 425,000 on up to probably 800,000 is what we anticipate. There's some larger lots in the back, very nice lots that back up to a floodplain area that we're not going into, we're not building into, obviously. Those lots would likely be very expensive.
Alderman Lassiter? Yeah. You can go. This just workshop, so we're not. No. Not on the agenda. Not tonight.
It's 80. It's 84. Yes. Yes, sir. Ms. Pence, are you able to pull up the plat that we submitted to the village? Understand. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so Alderman Sanders did print these out, so later, whenever this evening, I'm sure you, for those that are interested, can review them. Doesn't help right now. Yeah.
Residential acreage is about 107. Yes, sir. That's correct. Yes, sir. No, sir. That's not small. No, sir. That's actually larger than. Yes. About 135 is what. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It will have an HOA. It'll have a community center, approximately 2 acres, swimming pool, very similar to what we've built in Salado Mills. It's in phase 1. We will build it out with phase 1. So it's, you're probably not able to, but it's on the entrance boulevard. Yes, sir. It's in phase 1. Yes, sir. Approximately 2 acres. Yes, sir. Correct. Parking lot, covered pavilion, bathrooms, that sort of thing. Mailbox center. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's correct. Yes, sir. No, it'll be mandatory. So I'll be the declarant for a period until the development is completed or at least substantially completed, which is typically defined as about 90%. And at that time, we turn it over to the HOA, but then I continue as I do in Salado Mills. I sit the board of the Architectural Review Committee to make sure that it continues the way that I intend it to. In that line, I do, yeah, multiple local builders, I do. Alderman, we've been offered pretty obscene amounts of money from national companies already, and we've passed on it. We don't intend to. This is what no, this is what we do. Correct. Yes, sir. It is. It's approximately 10 commercial subdivided lots. Yes, sir. So we've had preliminary discussions, but since this has been really up in the air, obviously no one wants to commit to a deep discussion. But we've had a somewhat local individual discuss a restaurant there. We've had other individuals talk about gymnastics type center there. We've had I'm getting a lot of push from the community to build a flex sports community over there. So we're kicking around a lot of ideas right now of what could go there, and but that's what I would anticipate: retail, offices, that sort of thing. You're talking about small local. That's not the detail. Correct. Well, it's actually been about 3 years. So there was 2 administrations ago. But the previous administration, we got to this concept plat, submitted it. I believe it was, I could be wrong, but I believe it was April 25 that we were here. And the current administrator at that time, the only issue that he took with it was between the townhome section and the commercial section. Our engineer met the ordinance, met the standard of the right of way in that section. And he felt like it really needed to be wider due to, for emergency vehicles and that sort of thing, just in that section. So we went back even after he was no longer in office. We went back, kind of scrubbed through, did our due diligence. There's really nothing that requires us to do that, but we went ahead anyway for the sake of just trying to appease, and made that area 80-foot right of way through there. So it's a very large thoroughfare at this point. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will maintain architectural standards for sure. Yes, sir. Correct. I will either build them myself or direct what they look like. They will 100% be in keeping with the look of Salado. Yes, sir. No, we will. We will. Yes, sir. Correct. Yes. Yes. Correct. Yes. Yes. You put one at your house for about 30,000. It's about 50 to 70 to do a larger commercial one. A single's roughly 30. Yeah, 30.
Is that with or without lights?
What's
With
that?
or without lights?
Lights? No, sir. I'm just talking about the port.
All right.
You guys are putting me on the spot. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr.
Yes, sir. We're looking at that. That's on a lot of builders, minds right now, coming out of this last water moratorium that we just had. Yeah, that can absolutely be something that we can discuss during the development agreement process. Yes.
All right, thank you. Alderman Rufo?
I have no questions at this time.
Okay, one last go around before we move on. All right. So I think in the lieu of time, 2F and 2G are on the regular Alderman meeting, so we will be discussing those on the regular agenda meeting. I would like to move to agenda item 4 with the village administrator's updates reports, if that's okay.
All right, very well. Thank you. This will be brief. I just want to make the board aware that we do have a new staff member, Andrew Dupree, who is working in public works full-time, correct? I got the name right? All right. Andrew Dupree, we're happy to have him on board. You'll see him out in the community. He's wearing a bright yellow shirt. Didn't miss him today when I stopped in. Of course, John Benson is being onboarded for the village administrator position. He's been drinking from the fire hose for the last 3 days. I'm trying to get him brought up to speed as best as I can. As you'll see in front of you, we had this conversation before. Just a brief reminder that as budget processes come up, and even maybe before that, in front of you is almost an entire room of paper. The cost associated with that, the time that Kathy spends doing that, I don't know that that's the most efficient methodology. I have spoken to John, and I think he's on board as well as Kathy, about possibly in the near future transitioning to more of a digital platform, purchasing maybe laptops, more costly up front, but then you're not using a ream of paper for every meeting and every couple of weeks. So just something to think about. Other than that, still working through some of the grant stuff and getting John brought up to speed on that. But the EPA grant, just a reminder, that ends at the end of next year, the end of 2027. We've got some information back from MRB today about what those construction costs were. I haven't had a chance to review it, but I'm happy to do so and meet with John. That being said, I believe this will be my last update, so it's been a pleasure. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. So workshop 2, F, and G, like I said, will be part of the regular Board of Aldermen meeting, which will be starting shortly. If there is no other business, I will open the floor for a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Done it? All right. Adjourned. We will meet back in 10 minutes. He said there wasn't a second. Board of Aldermen of the Village of Salado is called to order at 6:28. Kathy, would you do the honor of roll call, please? Present. Here. Here. Here.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the board, we have 4 members of the presidency that are not a quorum is present.
Thank you. Let us begin with a moment of prayer and reflection. Gracious and loving God, creator of all, we gather today as a Board of Aldermen for the Village of Salado with grateful hearts. We ask for your guidance and wisdom as we conduct the business of our village. Grant us clear minds to understand the matters before us, open hearts to listen to one another with respect, and sound judgment to make decisions that are fair, just, and truly the best interest of the Village of Salado and all its residents. Help us set aside personal agendas and work together in unity for the common good. Make our deliberations strengthen our community, honor those we serve, and build a better future for our families and neighbors. We offer this prayer in the spirit of humility and service. Amen. For public comments, the first we'll start with items not on the agenda. The Board of Aldermen welcomes comments from citizens on issues and items of concern not on the agenda. Those wishing to speak must sign in before the meeting begins and observe a 5-minute time limit when addressing the board. Speakers will have 1 opportunity to speak during this time. Inquiries about matters not listed on the agenda will either be directed to staff or placed on a future agenda for Alderman consideration. No discussion or further action will be taken by the Board of Aldermen during the public comment period of the meeting. So I think I have one here with Ms. Darlene Walsh.
Okay, Darlene Walsh, 1001 Mill Creek Drive. I just had a couple comments or questions that you can just mull over, think about after hearing a few things in your workshop. For years, I've been urging that we really kind of push TxDOT to do something about our non-handicap accessible Main Street Bridge. I mean, they still own Main Street. They still they have control over Main Street, including the bridge, and it's not handicap accessible. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, in my opinion. So I think that needs to be pointed out. We need them to help us with that. We do have a couple of other bridges in town that are a couple of low bridges in Mill Creek that are getting more and more busy with families, more and more young people moving in with e-bikes and ATVs. And on Monday Coffee, I don't think any of you were there on Monday Coffee at the View, but our Commissioner Whitson was there, and we were all like just, oh my gosh, looking out the window at the low bridge, and we saw a big old burgundy huge truck halfway in the middle of the bridge with a white truck coming the opposite way, and he just went right up to his front fender and made him back all the way out of the bridge. And I think Commissioner Whitson said, well, there wasn't any gun involved. I said, yeah, but they all carry them, so you never know. We're getting more and more populated, and that one lane bridge is getting more and more used with kids with bikes and with fishing poles on the bridge and with joggers and with ATVs, and we need to think about that bridge. And as more and more flooding happens, more and more pieces of the bridge float down the creek. So, and it's always seems to get filled up with brush after every flood, and that just is a real problem. And then I was just going to say that a couple of questions regarding the development on Williams Drive. I didn't hear anybody ask if there's going to be a pit involved, and maybe they don't know yet. But if there's a pit involved, who takes care of that? Is that another job that we take care of? Also, I didn't hear anything about whether or not there would be any impact fees and what those would amount to. I mean, we have made deals with other developers, so I just didn't know, is that going to be standard procedure now? Or because as you all are finding out, the wastewater plant gets more and more costly as more and more users to it. And we're going to have a new stadium, and we're going to have more population on the west side and more poo being pushed under the highway, which means more upkeep to an aging wastewater plant. Which the other thing we need to figure out, though, is what is the total capacity that development might require, and do we have that capacity to provide for with our existing plant, or will this require town to take out another bond, and make it bigger, or what it will require? I think we need to find out, and I know there's a way to figure out, per the number of homes and the number of townhouses and whatever, what that capacity might be required for that development. So we need to think about that. It's really important because the people in town here are going to end up with possibly another bill, and we need to think about it. I'm not saying no to it. I'm just saying better to know in advance than after the fact. Oops, we didn't think about that. And so I was just something to think about. And he did mention a pool, I think. Is this a pool that would be accessible to the public? Boy, we could sure use a good Olympic-sized pool. It'd be wonderful for an indoor pool. Pickleball courts are nice, but a pool would be wonderful too. We do have a swim team at the school, and they don't have a pool. So, and it's right next door. So I'm just asking if that might be something that would be available to the public, because that would be wonderful if it could be. And that's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. Any other open thought on the agenda? Okay. Then we'll move on to public comments for items on the agenda. The Board of Aldermen welcomes comments from citizens on issues and items of concern on the agenda. Those wishing to speak must sign in before the meeting begins and observe a 5-minute time limit when addressing the board. Speakers will have one opportunity to speak per agenda item during this time. Public comments on agenda items will only be received during this portion of the meeting. No discussion or final action will be taken by the Board of Aldermen during the public comment period of the meeting. I don't believe we had any for the agenda, but I will open it up to the floor if anyone would like to come up and did not fill out a form at this time. Okay, with that, we will move on to a special presentation and recognition of our very own interim village administrator. So, everyone, we're going to go over here together. We're going right up the front. Come on. Yeah. Well, no, we want to always watch the meeting of our executive manager, and we take more of what Okay, we will move on to the consent agenda. That consisted of approval of the meeting minutes on May 31st, 2026 for the Board of Aldermen, regular meeting, and then approval of the financial reports ending on April 30th, and then the appointment of Mayor Jeff Ingram to serve as representative of the Village of Salado on the Development District of Central Texas Board. Is there any concerns or anything you would like to take off the consent agenda? Alderman Sanders?
None.
Alderman Lassiter? It's not on the agenda. Alderman Marufo?
None.
So if there's nothing to be moved off the consent agenda, I will open for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
A move to approve consent agenda as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded approved for the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. That motion carries 4-0. All right, so item 4 was discussion concern possible action regarding any items removed from the consent agenda. There was nothing. So we can move on to item number agenda 5, discussion and consideration of possible action. A, let's discuss consideration of possible action regarding the 250th anniversary celebration of our country. And I know Will Hearn is here this evening to open that discussion. Let's come on up, Will.
You know, we've had multiple conversations with different fireworks shows and different events and different things like that happening. I believe what Mr. Hearn is going to be asking for, and I haven't seen it yet, so don't get me lying to you, is a small amount of the hot taxes for the laser light show on the 3rd of July. But I'll let him speak to that and to what the actual request is. I have verified that laser light show is an eligible expense for hot taxes as long as it is not linked to a direct event, if you will. There are a lot of stipulations on hot tax. I'm not an expert. Deanna's been working with this. I reached out to multiple municipalities about this today to verify that we were on the right page and we were going to be in compliance with the state legislature, and what their intent is for this. Like I said, I'm happy to hear what the presentation is and what the ask is, and move forward however the board directs.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for allowing me to come up and speak about this and present this to you all. I'm Will Hearn. I'm the executive director for the Goodnight Amphitheater at Table Rock Park. And I attended one of the last meetings that we had, and it seemed like America 250 celebration would maybe kind of fall apart, and Table Rock wanted to take the lead on that and keep it going. And we're going to move forward with a concert on July 4th, regardless of anything else we do, but that's definitely happening for sure. But wanted an opportunity to talk about some of our plans and also the Hot Funds request as well. But just to sort of walk you through this, July 4th, we're turning 250, the semi-quincentennial. Say that 5 times. It's a once-in-a-lifetime milestone for our country, and communities across the country are going to be preparing to celebrate. Goodnight Amphitheater at Table Rock Park, in partnership with a Salado America 250 Coalition, is what we're going to call it, is bringing that celebration to Salado with 2 evenings of patriotic arts programming on July 3rd and 4th, designed to draw regional visitors, fill hotel rooms, and establish Salado as a premier destination for Independence Day festivities. The Goodnight Amphitheater at Table Rock Park is respectfully requesting, on behalf of this coalition, from the Village of Salado Board of Aldermen, to approve a budget amendment if you need to, but ultimately to appropriate $10,000 from the village's hotel occupancy tax fund reserve to support the promotion of the arts as authorized under Texas Tax Code 351.101A4. Specifically, the requested funds will directly promote 2 professional patriotic arts performances that are the centerpiece of our 250 celebration. One is the Laser Light Show and the Grand Ole Americana Show. This request represents the coalition's inaugural submission. We'd like to do this annually. We'd like to grow it. And an opportunity for the village to direct those funds towards arts programming that directly promotes tourism and hotel industry, and the hotel industry consistent with the express requirements of the law. If you'd like to read more about what these shows are, the Patriotic Laser Light Show, that's maybe a little more self-explanatory, but it does fall within the approved arts programming. The Grand Ole Americana Show is actually recognized by the Texas Commission on the Arts as an artist. It's on the Texas touring roster, and the Texas touring roster artists are eligible for performance support grants from the Texas Commission on the Arts. And the only way you can get that grant is if the purpose of that performance is to promote the arts. And that grant's already been approved for $4,500, and that grant, again, is expressly prohibited for only use for events, for activities that promote the arts. So that has already been stamped and approved by the Texas Commission on the Arts, just for any peace of mind there. The full celebration planning that we would like to try to pull off, Stagecoach is going to have several events or several things that they're going to be doing on July 3rd. They have an art gallery that's going to be opening in the Grace Jones Ballroom. They will have live music under their pavilion, and they're going to have some backyard grilling dining experiences. I would love to lead we had a golf cart parade that was in the works, and I think I would love to help lead that and make that happen. And then on and we would love to do that right before the concert and encourage everybody to decorate all the golf carts, award prizes. We'll have the golf carts drive right up in front of the stage at Table Rock, and everybody can see these cool golf carts, and we'll give them a prize. But we have already secured some of our own funding with this coalition. I mentioned the $4,500 grant. We also have several local businesses that have pledged around $5,000 right now in commitments. A Stagecoach would like to dedicate $2,500 towards just the promotion, and there's a component of that y'all might have to help me with, but that's actually part of their Hot Funds rebate or something like that. I don't know the exact details, but that's where they're wanting to direct that $2,500 is directly towards July 3rd and 4th. And then, of course, the idea is that both of these events are free to the public, and there's no barrier to entry. I would expect that we're going to have a really great turnout given the state of the world, and I don't think many people are going to be traveling. I think we're going to have a lot of local folks that are here and a lot of people from the region that are going to want to come to something regional. They're not going to, gas is over $4 a gallon. You are dealing with that, and a lot of folks are just want to kind of stay around in the area. So this is a great opportunity, and they'll have no excuse to not come out when it's something like this for free. The arts performances at the center of this request are designed to bring overnight visitors to Salado and generate measurable hotel activity, satisfying the direct tourism promotion standard required under this law. America's 250 is a nationally recognized once-in-a-lifetime milestone. The Historic Stagecoach Inn is a member of this coalition, and they're going to be the anchor lodging property, projecting full room occupancy over the July 4th weekend with no planned discounting. A Stagecoach Inn, we already mentioned the $2,500 marketing commitment. The Grand Ole Americana show is a nationally touring show. It will attract regional people. It always does. I am the producer of that show. I can verify that, show you the proof. And then we're also going to have just a regional marketing campaign, of course, targeting Austin, Waco, Temple, and surrounding markets. This represents a year one attempt or stab at this, and we hope to continue to come back every year and make it bigger and better, and something that we can all be proud of. And I think there's no better excuse than your country turning 250 to do something special. And like I said, Table Rock is happy to take the lead on organizing all of these things. There's also a proposed little mini fireworks display after the concert, a Class C show, which does not require state permitting. Table Rock actually has a 30-year plus precedent of fireworks and pyrotechnics in the Salado Legends show. It's been every year that they do it. So there's actually a precedent for Table Rock having fireworks and pyrotechnics every summer for multiple performances. We've been doing that for 30 plus years. Of course, I'm the new executive director. I don't know exactly how that all went down, but they definitely have been doing it for 30 years. And as far as I was told, the previous presidents, we just called the police office department and told them we were doing the show that night. So I don't know. But we do have a licensed operator that is set up, ready to do the show at Table Rock against Class C, much lower fireworks. Really would only be visible from the amphitheater. But those are all the proposed plans for this, and I hope you'll consider this. I hope you'll help us make it happen. So like I said, it's a great opportunity, and I know that the village and the residents would be grateful to have something like this and for such a special milestone. And I've got some other legal citations as well, if you're interested in any of those, as far as the text of this particular law is concerned, the hot funds. I feel like Mr. Nelson today. I've also been on the phone with the Hotel Lodging Association, the Texas Municipal League, and the attorney that is on retainer with Table Rock as well. So we wanting to make sure we're doing our due diligence, that we are requesting something that is within the scope of the law as eligible activities, programming, whatever you want to refer to. But definitely these performing arts, promoting these performing arts events absolutely falls under approved activities. So thank you so much for letting me share all this with you and for even allowing this on the agenda again. I know it's, thank you to all of the people that have been fielding these questions and been so patient as we tried to make this right, or get the language right.
Well, first of all, Tim, thank you. I just want to add a little context. So for those that have been in the village for a while, Tim Walsh I had the opportunity to talk to him over the weekend. For those that know, there was a laser light show probably like right before COVID down by the Pace Park that did for Christmas stroll. It was a huge success. It went off. It doesn't have the fire risk of, the trees and everything that was there. He was doing an event in Dallas, dropped in. I took him into Pace Park, and Tim met up with me. He is available for the 3rd to do it. He loves Salado, would really like to come back and do this. He obviously is in high demand. So if we make a decision on this, it can absolutely happen for the 3rd. What makes this nice for the 3rd? It's a multi-day arts festival or arts appreciation. that allows us to have more opportunity to put heads in beds. It kicks it off. Keep in mind, Belton is the largest 4th of July parade in the area. People will be in the area. If they stay here, they can go to that, come back for the show. So community-wise in the area, I think it'll really be a success, and it eliminates a lot of risks with the fireworks. And I think we were all extremely disheartened when we found out that the fireworks wasn't going to happen the way we intended. But
Class B requires a little more planning,
yeah, so
a little more advanced planning.
and then going forward, we can make decisions on where can a Class B, Class C, and different Class A go in the community, because we're growing, and areas where you can do it is condensing on. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys that context, and I will open this up. And Alderman Marufo, do you have any questions?
So the golf cart parade you're proposing is on the 4th, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then can you approximate a time of when you think the fireworks finale would happen?
Around 9 o'clock.
That's all I have.
Okay. Alderman Lassiter? Turn the mic on, sir.
Will, thank you. Thank you for your efforts to date so far. And this is an event that I guess I'm not familiar with us having done anything of any substance in the past on July 4th, but I could be totally wrong because I haven't in the last 8 years of living here. But I think it's a great time to celebrate. It's a great cause to celebrate, and I'm glad to see that you have incorporated Stagecoach in and some of the others in town with that. Is out of curiosity, is Barrows a player in your in your organization? But I didn't see it mentioned in here.
She just texted me on her way out the door that they would also want to be a part of the coalition, the sponsors.
But you haven't had any discussions with them about what specifically they would be doing?
Not beyond just simple sponsorship support, no.
Okay.
But we are going to have to talk to Katie about that, because if we have a laser light show in Pace Park, we need to make sure we're not doing anything stupid. We need to make sure, if we're going to have that bridge up, I don't know. But we do need to have a discussion with Katie, but she is, Barrow is supporting the event, yes, or the performances.
So have you talked to the village about using Pace Park in the flood area for parking at that time? Have you been able to get a permit, or do you need one for that? Or
Honestly, I'm not sure, to be honest, as far as any parking goes with Pace Park. That had not come up in our discussions yet.
That area would most likely have surrounding folks in the park area with their blanket for their chairs and to watch the laser light show.
I'm kind of curious. I have to ask this question, but y'all are pulling this together, it seems like, at pretty much the 11th hour. And that may be for a lot of reasons, which I don't know about. But I see down here we're going to do a regional marketing plan targeting Austin, Waco, Temple, and surrounding markets to actively promote the weekend to potential overnight visitors. Are you comfortable that we have enough time left in this 30 days to do that? And
so because of the nature of the holiday, July 4th, if it was a different sort of holiday or different time of year, I would say something, but July 4th tends to be a pretty predictable as far as what to expect in attendance and people. As far as the timeline goes, I'm actually glad you mentioned that. I am very versed in quickly putting things together as a professional, as a producer and event planner, organizer. That's all really producers are, is planning some sort of event. But I have 20 years experience planning events and doing them at the last minute. I've been also been contracted by municipalities to put on specific events that and performances that are for that in short amount of time. It doesn't. I know for a lot of folks it maybe seems, oh my gosh, how's that possible? I just look at it as just another day of work. I'm constantly producing shows that are touring around the country, and a lot of times you have opportunities that come up short notice, and you have to pivot, and you got to make it move fast to make it work, and we're just used to doing that. And we've already been the show itself. It's already promoting or being promoted. So that's I'm not too worried about that. And like I said, we've got a good group of people that are all supporting it. So we're going to have a coalition of support that's going to help the organizing and the executing of things. But I know I'm just a guy up here saying I'm an expert and a professional. So it's you have to take that with a grain of salt. But I have no worries about it. There will certainly be challenges. There's always challenges. But I am not remotely discouraged or deterred in any way by the timeline. I'm confident, and there are absolutely ways that we can get this marketing out to those regions fairly quickly. It's not that difficult nowadays with the promotional tools that we have available.
If I read this right, you're asking for $10,000 from the village's hot tax funds for this
Yes, sir.
event.
Yes, sir.
And how will that money be spent?
$7,500 would go towards the laser light show, and that is the quote from the laser light show, $7,500, and $2,500 would go towards additional support of the concert.
The concert event itself.
Yes.
Okay. And have you coordinated that concert and the timing of that with what Stagecoach's events are going to be?
Yes, we have. They're the ones that invited me into the conversation to begin with. So we've been working with David and Cole pretty closely on this. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the key players in this would be yourself and the Stagecoach at this point, and to some extent Barrows?
Yes, and Barrow, and then a handful of other local businesses have approached, called them, and they've all pledged support for the event.
And I saw it said $35,000 is what y'all were expecting to spend in total. For the event itself would be
rough budget.
$35,000.
It's accounting for additional promotion, and we may not get to that number. It may be less than that, but that's a rough budget of everything I'm trying to think of, including potentially additional security. Because Table Rock will have to have at least 3 officers there for what might be the expected size. I believe it's 1 per every 300 people or so. So we're planning on 3 officers for over 600 people. May not be that much. I don't know, but that's just what we're planning. We're in talks with the Bell County Sheriff's Posse Association. They've always helped us with our events, so we're trying to make sure we're going the extra mile. That some of these things will be taken care of. With the fireworks, we have a brush truck already available and ready to go that we can have on site just for peace of mind. But the operator is not remotely concerned given the level of rain that we've had recently, and because it's a Class C show, fireworks or fire hazard danger is significantly lower, which is why it doesn't require a state permit, which is the other fireworks show that we were looking at and that had been discussed and planned over that soccer. That was a Class B show. And that one absolutely required a state permit and a huge insurance policy, and Class C show does not. It actually kind of falls under what Table Rock has been doing every summer for years. So that level of pyrotechnics / fireworks.
I don't know, this is to help me understand who at the village would be responsible for being the liaison, or if we're going to be a liaison in that. And that's one question. The second one is, have you had any dialogue with our village police and needs or requests?
I've had
or-
dialogue with both the fire chief and the fire marshal. I have not directly spoken to the police chief of the department.
Okay.
There's been a lot of parties kind of involved in this, and I know we're trying to get to all of these people, but I have spoken with the fire marshal and the fire chief.
Are you expecting to need the village police force to supplement the sheriff's posse or something else?
Well, I know
Or you
that
don't know?
that staffing was a concern, which is why I was trying to go, which is why I was going the route of looking for off-duty police officers that could help with the event. It would be great if the village could help out there. It would be wonderful. But I do understand constraints on that in that area. If they,
I don't know if
heard
there
there
are
were
or
some,
not.
possibly some staffing concerns for that day. So that's why, again, why I've been looking into alternative security solutions.
Well, that's great to look at the alternative, but I guess with most of the people we all are hoping and planning, and we all are hoping and planning to see, I'm sure our local police force needs to have a pretty good knowledge of what's going on at some point in time. Is that fair?
Yes, we want to
Chief
make sure
Fields?
they are also,
Are you awake?
want to make sure they're also in the loop.
Oh.
Yes, sir. Sure. Okay. That would be fine with me. Yeah, but we want to go with the recommendations for what's appropriate for the village.
Okay, and then accountability and verification on our hot fund money. I do see that you put at the back on the third page that you are going to, your board is going to do a full post-event report within 60 days documenting the attendance of the overall with Stagecoach and everything else, and hotel room nights generated. So is that something normally y'all do when you do
have
that?
to, it's required by the law.
Okay. And we'll get to see that and have kind of a post-event
Yes.
report on that from you.
Yes, sir. I will,
Okay.
I will be the one to do that.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Alderman Sandor.
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for stepping up and taking this when it tried to fizzle out a little bit, which I don't think was anyone's fault. It was just unfortunate. So I admire you for having the ambition to pick this up and run with it. You do have some hefty hurdles in front of you, and I bet some of them will get knocked over, but I think your event could still happen. So I applaud you for that. Your general feedback from other municipalities was that this would be eligible legally for those monies. And do you, right. And so do you agree or disagree with that based on what you know about these funds? Tina?
The promotion of the arts is acceptable.
And Deanna Whitson, you agree? Let's see. So the golf cart parade, some of y'all have touched on already. I was going to immediately ask if our chief of police was on board or knowledgeable about this. So I know you just touched on that. You have my full support, sir, that any kind of law enforcement in your town needs to be directed by you because you're the one that's going to be accountable ultimately if something goes not great.
Sure.
Or if we have an event that requires action, then someone has got to, we can't have someone that's not from here. He knows these roads like the back of his hand. He knows where his men are and women. Do you know how long the golf cart parade might last?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. And so
the plan was to gather at Berkshire Brothers parking lot, that's the starting point, and come down Main Street and drive straight to Table Rock.
Yeah, I love that idea. And so I think when you speak to the chief, there'll obviously have to be some consideration from him on traffic.
Yes.
We can't, I don't think, just run a parade down the road, especially when we know there's going to be a lot of people around. Although I love the idea, full support.
No, and this is also a proposal.
Yeah.
We haven't truly explored.
Well,
I
hope
haven't been able, part of that
Yeah.
That initial, I know it was proposed early on, but I am looking for feedback and
Sure.
a little guidance on that as well.
And I would be willing to bet the chief will have a lot. I know for a fact that he changed and worked with staff this last December on the stroll, and there was a lot of things learned. He has new metrics about how to move traffic and different things, and so. But then again, he may need, and I'm not speaking for him, and I have no idea. I hope everything you're trying to do gets to happen because I love the whole idea. But I believe the chief. You know, there's a chance that he could come up with some things that he would need to make sure that your parade moves effectively and efficiently and safely. And there may be some things that he would need that you would need to budget for probably.
Sure.
So I'll move past that because that's really a conversation for the chief. Do you have any provisions? And if I just scanned, I think I read this twice since you've been up here, but I may have missed it. But do you have any provisions for porta-johns, porta-potties for public use? Is that going to be necessary given what we might draw to, say, Pace Park? Like, where will people go potty?
That's a great question. The bathrooms over at Pace Park probably would not probably not accommodate that
I don't
fully.
know.
Table Rock has, for just to speak to the concert, we have bathrooms. We have brought in additional porta potties before. We can do that again. If that is a consideration we need to look at for Pace Park as well, I'm happy to look at that and get that set up. Wouldn't be a big challenge, but if we think that would be a smart move, given the volume and people, I would be more than happy to work on getting that set up or facilitating.
Okay, and so myself and several other construction company owners in this town obviously have relationships with those contractors, so if I can be of any assistance to you on that, please get my number from Alderman Dunch. I'm assuming y'all have each other's number,
yes.
And just let me know, okay. And I think we'll see if we can help. And then how long is the laser light show?
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
30 minutes.
30 minutes, and in the quote, just so everyone's aware, I've reached out to several folks that have done this before at Pace Park with Tim. He will be responsible for the sound, so that is a requirement. I think, Tim, you feel like you got that covered. And then you have to rent a boom, like a boom lift.
The boom thing was, that requirement was,
Do you know what it is specifically?
It's so the screen goes up that the lasers go off.
I mean, do you know what kind of lift it? I own some of them.
40 foot, you said?
I don't own that one. Okay.
And you can rent that from a place right up from, so Richard Thompson, I reached out to him, who did the laser light show for the Christmas. He rented that from a place right up from Popeyes in Belton.
Oh, yeah.
There's a construction place there. They have it.
Asco.
But that would be, and you said that was not that much expensive for the rent.
Yeah, and you might be surprised to learn that the general manager of ASCO, if you let him hang the right size banner from that machine, he might put it over there for you just to
advertising.
Just to put ASCO.
Yeah.
He's real good about that. I'm not speaking for him, but he is generally pretty good about that. Yeah, you might not have to, or you might be able to save some money there.
And it's not an all-day event, so I don't know how many porta potties we would need. It's a couple hours, but we probably would need some.
That's a good point. Yeah. And then when we talked about this a week ago in the morning at the coffee with Village Leadership, I left that meeting thinking about, man, if this happens at Pace Park, what a great idea, with one caveat. And I think you were starting to touch on it, and it's parking. Because if you shove, not everybody has a golf cart. Some people have golf carts, and if it's hot enough, they'll just drive the Camry because it's AC, whatever, right? Like, you shove enough vehicles down there, you could have an issue maybe. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't think of putting all the people in Pace Park with cars would be a good idea. That's why I was mentioning, because I'm envisioning, this is, it's gonna draw, it's a pretty, I'll send you guys the video of what we've done in the past, and for those that have seen it in Salado several years ago, it's impressive. So.
Yeah, maybe send it to.
Well, how do we do the Scottish Festival?
That's right. Whatever, that would be the model. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, they shut something off you're not coming past certain points on either end of the park, and from that point forward, you're walking in blankets, chairs, and et cetera, right?
Right.
And I think that should be considered, or otherwise you might have a headache on your hands.
Right, right.
That's obvious.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that whoever, I mean, y'all were involved in that too, so, whoever the organizers were, for Scottish Games would probably have the metrics to help you with that.
Okay.
And then, I was gonna ask, you mentioned maybe 3 officers, just kind of sounding it out. I'm not gonna dive into that because I think, again, that's a
Well,
conversation
and
for.
just to be clear on the 3 officers, that is just at Table Rock. Anytime there's beer or wine being served, you have to have police officers present per certain number of people. I can't remember the exact number. I think it's 1 for 250 or 300, but that's why I'm planning to have at least 3. And that's what I see across events, Texas, that I produce all the time. You've got to have at least 2, if sometimes 3 police officers there. Again, and we'll absolutely go through you if we need to on that, but those 3 were specifically for the concert. And then, the Bell County Sheriff's Posse Association has just had a history of always helping us at events and direct, and they always did a great job with really parking was always a big thing that they did. But those were the main additional security things that I was working on for Table Rock. And outside of that, there was some another company that might be able to help, but we obviously need to go through our chief here to look at anything like that.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
I'll leave it back around, just open to if there's any other questions that the Alderman have.
No questions.
Okay, well then I will.
Mayor Pro
Chair.
Tem, Mayor Pro Tem, may I?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the one thing that I would like to make sure that if there is a motion made, that we also make the motion that fireworks are allowed, because we do have an ordinance in the village that says fireworks are not allowed. I understand we don't know the history, but I want to make sure that we're protected in what we move forward with tonight if you do move forward. So if you could please add that to
So would
your
that
direction.
be added to the motion that we are allowing the fireworks, is whatever the motion is? Okay, thank you. Well then, the chair will open to a motion.
I move to approve item 5A as written, including the allowance of a Class C fireworks display at Table Rock.
Do I have a second?
Second. Can we pause for a second?
Yeah, for discussion?
You're Ryan. Sorry.
No.
What language specifically? There's not a lot of language on our packet here. Do we need to talk about hot funds and all of this in this motion, or is it? Okay. Okay.
What I do want the board to be aware of is the non-budgeted option side. So it would come out of the $367,748.93 reserve. So that would have a $10,000 impact on that. It's not budgeted.
Okay. Thank you. And to be clear, my motion is to approve $10,000 from that hot fund. Sorry. Thank you.
So it has been moved and a second that we approve the 250th celebration as written, with this one caveat, which is we will allow fireworks at a Class C at Table Rock on July 4th. And this will include the full $10,000 of hot pack funding. And with that, is there any other discussion? Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, I just want to make sure that we get into this. This is really the first request I think we've had. be on the Christmas thing, it's awful. In terms of funding, anyway, for a special event, this is the first and only one so far. That when we look at this, we have to consider our other events that we want to be doing, and I'm just saying that you think about how much money we're giving this event. We have some others that didn't get anything last year, and that asked for last stroll, and we asked for 8,000. That's going too well. But I guess the point of it is I hope at some point we can establish a community, or a committee rather, that can help us with some of these events so that it's not just sporadic that they come to the board, and have a better plan than working and having to react to these on 30 or 45 days notice. And I guess there's an exception this year. I'm not criticizing that at all, but I do hope we can get into a plan on future events that are forthcoming. We have some way to filter that effectively, but not hinder it. But have a better idea of planning how we're going to use our hot tax funds on a 12-month basis in the future, rather than reactionary like we do.
So, just for clarification, and I know you're in the middle of the motion and a vote, this is not to fund the event. This is specifically to fund the promotion of the arts. For future events, that hotel occupancy tax would be used for to fund the actual event. So we need to be an application process. This board or another appointed board will have to take action to approve all of those budgetary expenses. This is specific to a promotion of those two items for the arts, and events have to be funded via an application that the village has not adopted or approved.
Does not.
Because it's not, we are not funding the actual event itself, we are funding the two very specific items that are promoting the arts specifically.
But thank you for clarifying that, but I'll also say this, whether it's for the arts or not, specifically if another arts event comes up, I think we need to be looking at this on an annualized basis and not a singular basis in the future, and try to stimulate that. So we have an annual plan versus an event or an occasion, random occasion coming in. Hopefully,
May I make totally agree, but for this is for this particular promotion of the arts, but I totally agree, we should have back to what, and we should as aldermen know what to budget, and hopefully this will be budgeted next year as an annual event, because we can go from there and then we can add additional events and still have funding for something new, but we need to start spending these funds to bring,
whether it's arts or special event, I just think we need to be proactive in planning however we choose to do that, so that we don't singularly come at them throughout the year, unless there's some place to fit.
So any other discussion with regards to this promotion of the arts?
Mayor Pro Tem, again, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I just thought of something, and I apologize because being presented this evening, just like you all, in the budget, as I recall, working on this budget at the beginning of the year, we did community grants, which included in the arts. If you look at the budget and line item 5075, community grant program, we allocated $10,000 budgeted for the year. So it is actually in the budget, and you wouldn't have to pull it from the reserves. I just wanted to make that note.
Thank you for that.
That exhausts that budget item.
For that item through the end of September, yes, sir.
And there is something budgeted for that.
Not for community grants that I'm aware of. No, that is a different line item.
So with that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We're going to have a great celebration.
Yes. All right, next item is 5B, appointment of the Planning and Zoning Commissioners. You taking it? Based off the candidates that we had? Okay. So with that, any questions, Alderman Marufo?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Alderman Sandor?
You're looking at me or you're looking at
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just going down the line, so I need a coffee. Yeah, go for it.
We only have the 2 applications, we have others in the packet also.
So you have 2 applications beyond the planning and zoning commissioners that have said that they want to serve again. So you have 2.
That's the 2 that were outside of our packet that I talked about in workshop.
So those are the 2, yes, outside, yes. And then in your packet are the commissioners that actually raised their hand to continue to serve, along with 2 others that had already made commitments.
Oh, right. Okay. So we do have other applications, but they've moved on or are no longer at this time interested for whatever the reasons
Able
are.
to serve, yes.
So we have 1 open seat and 1 alternate seat. We have 2 applications, one of which is here tonight. The other didn't make it.
Correct. And there's, I will correct you on the alternate. We have 2 alternate seats.
2 alternate seats. So we could fill 2 alternate seats, but we only have 2 applications right now. So we could hypothetically decide to fill 1 seat, 1 alternate seat. We would still have an opportunity in the future to fill another alternate seat.
Correct.
Thank
and
you.
That would be staff recommendation. Yes.
Right. The 2 that are going to renew? Yes. Okay. I don't have any questions, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, I'll go back around. Is there any?
As a follow-up, I do.
Okay.
As a follow-up to Alderman Sandor, there's 1 resume application in here for a Michael Moore. Did I see that?
So, correct, and he is no longer available to serve.
That's where, okay.
Yeah.
I was
He has
going to
other
ask
commitments.
that, but I want to make sure, Ken, you were talking about that would have been here. So, okay, I understand, and we will still have room for 1 additional alternate to fill at some point in time. That would be the full complement for the planning commission, both full-time and alternate. Okay, no further questions.
So I will, the chair is open for a motion to fill these positions with potential candidates.
And Mayor Pro Tem, I move to, I hope this language is correct, appoint Mr. Stephen Latman as onto our Planning and Zoning Commission. I would also move to ask Kevin Shawn to be an alternate on P&Z, and I would like the motion to include extending the 2 current chairs that want to reappoint 2 commissioners. Thank you.
Okay, with that, I will wait for a second.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we extend and reappoint the current seats. We move to appoint Stephen Batman as position and a backup alternate with Kevin Shawn. Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed, say no. That passes 4-0. All right, next 5C, wayfinding signs. Open this one up. We discussed this at the workshop, but any further discussion, Gina, that we need to have?
I don't have anything further unless there's questions for me.
Yeah, Alderman Sandor?
Quick question. So is this time sensitive? I can't remember.
You know, it is just for the quotes that we've received because we have 30 days. So we do have a little bit of time, you know, to be able to get back to them. But I was just really hoping, to be honest with you, since I've been working on this so long, to get this to the finish line.
Yeah. Alderman.
We do want to let people know, at the public, whoever's watching, well, these aren't the signs that are going to go down on Main Street. You know, there are conversations for those types of things as well. We're aware that people are interested in having additional signage through the streets, but these are not those signs.
This gets you to
These are to get the people off of the highway down into the downtown.
Yeah, and so I guess my last comment would be, we have proposals. I identified with staff during workshop prior to this meeting that I am aware of 2 of the 3 contractors. I've done business with both of them successfully in the past. Their numbers are very far apart. I could be comfortable with either one of them, contingent upon, you know, qualifying their bid before they mobilize. But, you know, I don't know how to do that, how to move to do that. That's a lot, but when we get to that point.
Okay,
Thank you.
Alderman Lassiter?
I'm good with that.
Okay. Alderman Rufo?
No question.
Okay. So with that, we have the option here. The chair is open to a motion.
I'll make a motion. Are you going to do both of these? Get a look at that one too, or not?
Well, I think staff is looking for us to hire Jackson because of the volume.
Okay. I'll make a motion then, Mayor Pro Tem, to move forward with the Jackson sign and lighting proposal, subject to the agreement of Ms. Pence and Mr. Alderman Sandor's approval of the specifics in that quote and the validation of them as approved for the quality of work that we would like to see and do in a timely fashion. And I think that's it.
I will open it for a second.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that we are making the motion to have Jackson signs and in power, I guess, I don't know what the right word, for Gina and Alderman Sandor to review and make final decision on that contract.
But my understanding is the intent of the motion is to move forward with this project.
Yes, yes,
Following the
yes.
Validation and approval.
Following what?
The validation.
The validation of Alderman Sandor. Okay, so is there any further discussion?
No.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Hey.
All opposed say no. This motion carries 4-0. All right. The next agenda item is 5D, wastewater agreement amendment number 6.
I'm pretty sure that this was on the first agenda when I first started. And I'd like to get this to close before Mr. Benson gets to delve into this, especially since our contract, correct me if I'm wrong, Andriana, expired March 31st. And so we have been going, it's been, good faith effort moving forward. Here to answer any questions we may have, but this is really specifically for this amendment. In our previous reviews, of course, I referenced there was an 81% increase overall year over year. Now Jacobs understands that our budget cycles don't exactly line up, so they're hitting us mid-year. So they made some additional changes. With the proposed changes that we were provided last time, it looks like the overall impact to our wastewater budget would be right around $60,000 or $60,295, because that goes retroactive back to April 1 once we execute this agreement, which would eat up $60,295 of the anticipated $61,000 that we had for net income, leaving our net income in wastewater at $705 at the end of the year. So net loss is about $60,000 with projections how it is, and I'm just doing flat rate projections that this is what the maintenance contract is, this is what the staffing is. You know, the maintenance may come in way under, it may come in over. Those are estimates that they're providing to us for planning efforts, with the understanding that you know, these are just numbers I'm providing to the end of the budget cycle. So the next budget, of course, there should be funding set aside for these activities that's appropriate. We just have to be careful that next April there would be another, possibly another increase. So I believe that they're amenable to us maybe even modifying our contract to where it would end. We still execute this amendment right now. There would be another one that would follow up, I'm sure, or need to be, to end our contract prior to April, or change the contract, so that our contract would align, our budget would align with our contract date, so we're not getting hit in the middle of the year for increases. That's my big spill. And Andriana here to answer any questions, I believe, or provide any additional insight.
Alderman Marufo? Okay. Alderman Lassiter?
Yes, I have several questions and some concern about making a long-term or 12-month commitment tonight. Let me start by saying, in the last 3 months that you've been working on in good faith on the basis of the contract. Are we paying, will we, or are we paying you the new amount on that program? We've been paying you the old amount.
Correct.
And essentially that incremental cost that you added to the material, the chemicals, and the labor, y'all have basically internally expensed.
Right.
And not at our cost.
Correct, not at this time, because we have not.
Yeah. So, and I think it's really important to tie this to our annual cycle. That to me is a must. That we've got to get on a 12-month fiscal year, as with everything else we have, so our timing's correct. I think the dilemma that I have tonight is it's not that I don't want to do business with Jacob. Yeah, it's not that at all. I just feel like there's a couple of options that financially are just prudent to look at. I mean, I think
I think you're correct that there are other options, but I think it's, I'm trying to think how to say this while I hear the diet. I think that those activities should happen at a different time, not right when you're in the middle of, or 3 months into an amendment that should have been brought to you much sooner than it was. Those activities should have happened way before that. And this is, you know, it would essentially push this another 3 months. So that you could do the bidding, you could drop the RFQ, you could get it through legal, and so you're looking at another 3-month process. And then you would have to go and start negotiating that contract. So you're talking about a couple more months. That's my thought. I don't think this is the appropriate time, but it's ultimately up to the board to make that decision.
Yes, I understand that. I do think, because of the significance of the cost, that the other options should at least be discussed. And I myself, and I feel like the other aldermen too, would like to ask more questions about this system. None of us here are really familiar with that system, and I think we need to be real familiar with it because we've got expansion plans. We need to know our weaknesses, our expectations, a rising cost with rising levels of sewage coming in. And the workshop as it is, to me, that we've had was just insufficient in getting really comfortable with understanding that this is a big issue for our community because it ties right into our expansion and our development growth and the rest. I'd love to sit down at the table informally to be able to sit there, not up here at the dais and just pound away at questions and answers and get more educated and more informed. But moving back to where we are right now, and and benevolence is the right word. I mean, it wasn't their fault that this wasn't addressed last year in a timely fashion. It's not, and I'm very appreciative of Jacobs taking the high road in this and trying to work with us. I really am. I think that's commendable. What I would like the other board members to consider is somewhat of a compromise at the moment, which would give us some time for us to explore these other opportunities, is to tentatively, at this point, agree for June, July, and August months that we would accept their proposal and pay them accordingly with that, with the understanding that during that 3 months, a firm commitment for those 3 months gives us enough time, one, to bring it in line with the future as our costs go forward, and two, gives us a little time to explore these other options, 1 or 2 options we have.
I think you could definitely do that. I think, would we be able to, Andrea, end at the end of our budget cycle?
Yes,
So that it would be a clean break.
align us with.
What I'm thinking is if you go June, July, August, then you still have a month that is just not in budget cycle. So if you can do we agree to the increase, the proposed increases, according to whatever the monthly cost is or however that needs to be worded through the remainder of our budget year. I think that would do that, and then that would trigger the new administrator to start the RFQ, RFP process and conversations with the selected vendors to bring back information and you to get additional information that you need.
Yeah, it's important for me to understand that this is not a reflection of questioning your company and its efficiency or anything else. It's just, I think when you spend this kind of money, we got to make sure that we're happy with it and it's the best alternative that we have going forward. I know some cities at some point bring people in to do it in-house. I'm not suggesting that, but it ought to be looked at from a cost standpoint. There are other people that do waste management like that. I don't know how far they want to go, but I know this, that I'd like to have for our fiscal budget for 2027 it nailed down in that period of time. So what I would like to see is I'd like to have some meetings here, whether it's 3 and 2, the mayor can always attend, and 2 aldermen, and may have to do it twice, because I think we're in violation if we don't, right?
Might be a violation to do it twice. You're just breaking the form.
Well, I don't know how we do it then. You'll have to.
Town hall, there are many anyway.
Okay, well, figure that out, but I'd like it to be less formal and open so we really can get our hands around it. So whether it's 3 or 4 months to get us through this cycle and set it up, that's what I'm looking at y'all asking for. I'm willing to do that personally, and so I think that's a reasonable compromise for us, given the fact that we're just jumping into it now. And I wish we weren't, but we got 3 brand new people here, and 3 that didn't get informed very well about what was going on in the wastewater entity for the time that we've been on the board. So I'll just stop there and hear what y'all have to say and whatever other thoughts you may have about a different solution.
I will say, just for some clarification also, obviously I'm open to whatever y'all decide. The contract is not on the fiscal year, we understand it. We are open to adjusting.
Right.
That's perfectly fine, through September, the end of September, and then October 1, my understanding is the start of the new fiscal year. The contract as it currently stands right now does run through the end of March 2027. So even if you agree to approve through, we would have to amend it again. So there would be an agreement to do that, and then we would propose separately and to get on the new budget cycle for the next year. So then I would propose again October 1 through the following September, and the contract as it currently reads, it's the end of the initial agreement, but there's a 5+5 auto renewal, which means you have the option to add another 5 years or go out for a competitive bid as well. I believe so. I don't have it in front of me, but with writing, and there's a time period. I would have to look. There's usually always something like that, except there's exceptions that has to be in writing, and there's a time period if you want to terminate the contract for whatever reason. It's not uncommon, so yeah.
Alderman Sanders?
So, if I understood you correctly, Alderman Lassiter, and I believe I did, and so thank you, because I think those are valid points. I mean, I think what Alderman Lassiter is interested in board consideration for is to pay Jacobs for the next X amount of months. We'll have to decide and pay them at their new rate here forward. Do we owe them? Okay. And then that would allow us 2 main things, which would be to try to catch up on business with them because we're behind the curve financially with them, right? So we want to right that ship because they've been taking care of us, to your point, many times. Yeah. And it would also allow us an opportunity to align their contract with our budget cycle, right? I don't know how that's not. I mean, as long as Jacobs would be amendable to that, that would, in my mind, be a really good idea right now. If we we don't have what we need, and clearly, at least some of us don't have, and neither do I. I don't know anything about that system. You know, very little. You know.
So my only concern with it, I think thank you for running the numbers. So it sounds like we have a certain amount on our run rate of what we think. My only adjustment to that, would you guys be willing to not exceed a limit until we get to the new budget cycle? I don't want to have to go negative because the contract is written, if you go over on, I know it's, chemicals plus 10%. But if for some reason we go over on that, then
Over the estimated budget.
over the estimated budget for the next 3 months or 4 months that we're talking about here, the remaining of this, it would be 6 months? Four. Well, because we go on April, May, June. So you're thinking that annually it's going to be 120K thereabout for next year against current run rate, but this half a year is 60K, and we just have 60K. So that we potentially could go negative is what I'm saying. And would you be willing to have a cap on how much?
And that's an annual budget, so I can tell you, if you divide that by 2, I can tell you when you get close to that.
We're heading into the hot season. It's gonna get stinky. There's chemical. I just see that, suddenly we're sitting here and that account has gone negative. And that's my only thing that I know you guys have put more than your share of skin in the game here, so I appreciate that, but I'm also asking for a cap, I guess, on where we get between now and the end of September.
So that's not something I can answer, unfortunately. I would have to take that back to my manager, just for approval, but I totally understand where you're coming from. And again, if like there's not a motion to that, I'm okay with that, because I know it's something we've been working
He's
on.
like, we got to get
I
this
know.
across. He tried so hard.
I know, but I also understand that the system's growing and it has to make sense. And we would like to remain a partner with y'all for the next 10 plus years, etc. So whatever that means, I'll keep coming here every week and we'll figure it out. It's a negotiation, essentially.
Well, I don't want to create a cash flow issue for you guys. At the same time, this is an 85, and thank you for sharpening the pencils and giving us chemicals in the rears and dropping the 10. I mean, I know you guys have done, and I can't thank you, but it would be much better if we were on our budget cycle. And
100%.
I don't want an account to go negative.
And I had a conversation about this morning, and so it's something easily done. It works for both sides. If you want to do it this year, totally. My recommendation would be maybe we come to you with a different proposal. Again, I don't mean to extend this, because maybe that dollar amount is different for 6 months. Because I gave you an annual proposal. So, I mean, I don't know what that figure is. Maybe it's probably very similar realistically, but I can give you a 6-month estimate for chemicals so we can get through the end of September. That actually makes sense. Right now it's estimated for a year. So maybe.
But I still would request a cap, because I really can't get broke. Yeah, so until we get the budget cycle, I can put the extra buffer in there.
Yeah, and I would take that and get approval essentially and bring it back.
Okay. So, I mean, are we table this, or we can postpone it, or
I mean, Mayor Pro Tem, if she's not at liberty, as she said, she doesn't have the authority. I support your cap, for the record, but she doesn't have the authority to approve that, which, so I don't know how we would be able to take action.
Well,
if that's going to remain in consideration.
I would suggest we table this then. Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll get this resolved.
I have.
Oh.
Mayor
okay.
Pro Tem, I move to table item 5D.
A second?
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made to table item number 5D as written. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
All say no. That passes 4-0. All right. Next agenda item is 5E. Second payment to the Tech Stop for the Royal Street project. We discussed this at the workshop. I guess I'll open it up for questions. Alderman Lassiter? Any questions? Okay.
How about a quick
Alderman-
comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is
Alderman
the,
Sanders.
this is the same one that's the second payment, right? The one we didn't understand why it wasn't paid in full. So just want to remind the board, if we're going to move to an action here, that if we do not decide as a board to approve this payment, then this project will not let, and all of the work on it could be for naught. I just want to reiterate that, please. No other comments, Mayor Pro Tem.
Alderman Narufo.
No question.
Okay, the chair is open for a motion.
Move to approve item 5E as written.
Okay, do I have a second? Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Okay.
All opposed say no. That motion passes 4-0.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Are we going to executive session?
We are. No? Okay. Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, I
Yes.
move to adjourn.
Do I get a second?
You don't need one.
All right. Adjourned.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, well, third meeting.
Yeah.
I wanted to commend you in your new role.
Oh, you did fantastic. Yeah, I agree.